Joining us now from L.A. Is the author of a very good book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes. Enjoyed reading that. And you know him. He's on ESPN with the sports, and he's ambidextrous because he talks politics as well. Stephen A. Smith. So first of all, thanks for coming on. Most would have fled in terror, but you are here. So I'm telling you that if you talk about skin color in a negative way, you're a fool. And you think you can talk about skin color in this country and really move the discourse along in a positive way? You really believe that?
Well, I think that if you are an individual that's fair-minded, which shockingly, or to a lot of people out there, I find you to be fair-minded. I think if you're talking to somebody and you're fair-minded and you take into account the position that they're coming from, then obviously it's going to heighten your level of sensitivity because you're going to understand that you're not living in their shoes. And when I listened to you speak the other day, yeah, like I said, I have a distinct advantage when it comes to you. When you had the O'Reilly factor, I barely missed it. It was an elite show. Obviously, you were a preeminent voice in the world, the king of cable television, as they say. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox News Channel. I watched you all the time. And I know that you are an independent. You don't consider yourself a Republican or a Democrat, and you do what you believe the facts tell you. And so my attitude was, where was that Bill O'Reilly when he was talking to Chris Cuomo? I didn't see that person. I saw a person that's...
Well, let's get specific. What do you mean? My thesis is that we're all Americans.
Okay.
Pluribus
we agree there.
unum. All right?
Okay.
And that we are post-racial in evaluating people on the basis of their skin color or disparaging people, as Trump did to Kamala Harris. No doubt he did. All right. We are beyond that here, or, and if we're not, then people like me and you should disparage the skin color people. That's the point. That's the point I made.
Yeah, but you were saying also, in other words, you were alluding to this reality that's virtually non-existent. That's not something that's really going on in everyday America today. I would say to you, it might be more the exception than the rule in today's generation compared to what it was decades ago, but it still exists. Ask any Black person and they'll tell you that.
Okay,
we deal with
but
things.
I'm not talking about personal prejudice and bias at all. My thing was centered around Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. That was the context of the remarks.
Yeah, but you were expansive.
What?
But you were expansive. You were expansive. You went
beyond
it.
I was expansive in the context of anybody making decisions to attack another person or criticize another person on the basis of skin color is a fool. Now, I'm not.
I agree with that. We agree there.
Well, that's what it was. Look, I understand the reality that African Americans and other minorities are treated differently in some places than Caucasians. Everybody gets that. But when politicians at the highest level, Stephen, this is very important for a guy like you who has access to a lot of minority viewers and listeners, very important you understand that. When these people devolve into criticism because of skin color, that should not be acceptable.
It's not acceptable. Nobody is saying that it was. And I'm not saying that you are saying it was saying is acceptable. I'm saying when you contextualize what you were saying, you said, you became a bit more expansive. And you said, let me go on to say this. Anybody who does, as you just articulated, is a fool. And I'm saying to you, there's a whole bunch of fools out there, Bill O'Reilly. Are you paying attention? There's a whole bunch of fools in this world.
Of course I'm paying attention. I lambaste those people all the time.
More so than most of us.
Right, let's get specific now. So we talked about the overall general point. I want specific answers. There are Americans, millions of voters, who vote on a basis of skin color. So if you're Black and a Black candidate is running, you see that person more favorably. Is that right or wrong?
I think that's wrong. I think the one place where it was right was with Barack Obama. There was no way in hell that black folks were not going to vote for Barack Obama for the presidency of the United States.
Why
And I'll
though?
tell you this. Because
Why were black folks going to vote for Barack Obama when they didn't know anything about him? He didn't really distinguish himself in the Senate. Why were they going to vote for him?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to speak for all black folks, but I'm going to say this to you.
I know, but your opinion.
No. I'm going to say this to you, Bill. There were about 43 presidents that arrived before him that had an opportunity to screw up, and they were all white males. How come he couldn't get an opportunity? That was the thinking that a lot of folks in our community had, not all.
And that's
all right, but
that's legitimate.
In other words, a first chance. That's number one.
Okay.
Then secondly, when you take into account, I tell you this, black folks hold black folks accountable all the time. So this notion that because you're black, you're automatically going to get our support. I'm sorry, that is not how it works. Black folks are putting black folks in jail all the time. They're making sure they're in prison when they break the law. They're calling 911 to call the cops on them all the time. Oh, that happens all the time. Make no mistake about it. I think where it gets interesting, however, is when you think about your lane, the political landscape or the political apparatus that exists in this country. You might think that somebody is supporting this candidate because they're black, when in fact, they happen to be black, but they may be a liberal and their ideology may vibe with that particular voter. And you don't trust folks on the right.
But you know as well as I do that people like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson before him, although Jackson wasn't nearly as bad as Sharpton, traded on skin color to whip up resentment. Look, one of the things that is absolutely false is the charge that Donald Trump is a racist. He is not a racist. I've known the guy for 32 years. Okay?
I've never called him that.
No, of course not. You wouldn't be on the program, or I'd be just hammering you like into pudding if you did. You haven't. The reason you're on a program is because you're sane, and I want to hear your point of view. And when you said that, I said, get him on and we'll debate. Everything is expensive these days. You know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall and lose its coveted role as the world reserve currency. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.